Welcome to another video and my kitchen studio. If you're new here, my name is Eric and I'm a lifestyle photographer. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about composition in photography. Now, of course, a comprehensive video on composition, or rather a comprehensive discussion on composition, would take, well, many videos, dozens really. So this is going to be the first in a series I'm going to do on my channel here discussing composition. Today though, I'd like to specifically talk about how we use color as a compositional element in photography. I happen to be a food photographer and a lifestyle photographer, so I'm going to illustrate it with some food photography. So let's get started. Oftentimes when we think about composition in photography, the last thing that comes to our mind is color. I mean, we think about things like the thirds, the Fibonacci sequence, the golden mean, arabesques, and these are all classic composition techniques that I'll review in future videos. But color very rarely comes to mind, but color is an extremely important element in composition, not just in food photography. It can be bold, it can be very subtle, and everywhere in between, and we also have a huge palette of colors in nature and otherwise to work with. It can make or break an image, really. Consider this photograph here from a video I shot a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, there's more going on in this image compositionally than just color. But if we consider the colors of this image, which I did when I created it, they're very important to the image. If we go from left to right, it's almost spanning the entire spectrum of color, albeit pastels and subtle. The bluish bowl works as an anchor and complements the otherwise earthy colors we have going on. It also works as a stop and brings the viewer back to the burger. So it can get very complex, without anybody even really knowing what's going on in the image. Today I'd like to illustrate the point much more simply. So we're going to put together a dish that only concentrates on the three primary colors, red, green, and blue, RGB. So I made a little trip to the grocery store this morning to assemble our elements. I had a hankering for some reason for some salmon, and it was on sale. So we've got some salmon as one of our elements. Not necessarily red, but associated with those pinkish red sort of hues. We're going to serve it with a very simple salad of fresh arugula. There's our green. We're going to pair that with these lovely red cherry tomatoes. And we're going to plate it all up on this somewhat blue-ish bowl. I have an idea in my head already because I like to pre-visualize what a photograph is going to look like before I start working on it. So I have an idea of what this photograph is going to look like and how it's going to combine these simple colors. Now, the photograph might get more complex in terms of elements once we start staging it and putting it together, but the color palette of that RGB is going to remain true and simple. All right, so the first thing I got to do is cook up this salmon. This isn't a cooking channel, so I'll see you when it's all done and we're plating it up. Here's the image that I created. Again, there's more compositional elements going on here than just color. But if we consider the colors of this image, it's almost minimalist in its use of the three primary colors, red, green, and blue. So I hope you enjoyed this short video and discussion on color theory in composition. It's an interesting thing to think about, and oftentimes we don't think about it enough. So the next time you're taking pictures, if it's with a camera or just on your cell phone, look at your scene before you take the shot and consider the colors in the scene. Do they work? Do they clash? Are they complementary? I don't know. It's interesting to think about. All right, that's it for this one. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.